Hello my YouTube friends. Today I will show you how to do this craft project with loose beads. In the past I did a few projects with broken jewelry and beads, and I will leave some of the links above and below this video. In this vase I have no less than 30 individual picks, and I will show you later what I call picks. And I will share with you what materials I use, how I select the beads, what the stoppers are, and all the techniques I am using. Many of us have broken jewelry that either belongs to us or our family members. Those who do crafts and beading also have even more loose beads. I have a lot. I have crystal beads, pearls, wood, natural stones, and many other beads which are loose. They will be one of the major materials for this craft project. Another important element for this project is a wire. And I mostly use 28 gauge wire. You can use 26, but sometimes it's too tough to handle gentle beads such as small beads or crystal beads. And of course tools to cut the wire and do some additional mechanics. These are individual picks that I was talking about. And I use different shapes and sizes of loose beads and some findings to make the design is more interesting. And I will show you how to create those picks. The techniques is the same. I like using pearls because the flowers are bright, shiny, and very appealing. I will do 2 flowers using 4 types of beads or elements for each flower. I also cut a short wire, 28 gauge wire, and I will tell you in a minute how many inches is this segment. The wire is 10 inches. If I have excess, I will cut it off. The first step will be to get the wire through all 4 beads, 3 beads and 1 finding. This is the silver finding. The top bead and the bottom beads will be the stoppers, and I will explain you what the stoppers is. That means that when you get the wire back through these 4 elements, it's going back inside only through the big pearl and the silver finding. You wrap the upper bead and the bottom bead. I will show you first the upper bead. Do you see that the wire goes through the pearl but does not go back through the crystal, the red crystal? It's wrapping it. But now the wire will go through the finding and wrap the bottom bead, and I will show you in a minute. As we see, the wire goes through the big pearl and the silver finding, but wraps the crystal bead and the small pearl bead. Now you pull the shorter end of the wire so the beads are very tight and start twisting below the small pearl. So as you see, wrapping the top red bead, going back through the big pearl and silver finding, and now it will wrap, doesn't go through, will wrap the small pearl, and I will start twisting, as I said, below the small pearl. And before you start twisting, make sure that all 4 elements or whatever number of elements you're using are very tight, very close to each other. And you keep twisting maybe 1.5 inches. Notice that I have 2 ends, the shorter end and the longer end. And you should keep this in mind when you start doing the first flower. Now, using the longer end, I will do the second flower. For the second flower, I did the same. The wire goes back only through the big pearl and the silver finding. And I wrap around the crystal and the small pearl. And the distance between the twisted portion and the top of your second flower depends on you. But I usually try to keep the length or the distance between the wire, the stem wire, and to the flower a little bit less than the twisted stem of the first flower. And I will tighten all 4 beads and start twisting. So this is the distance I left. And now I will start twisting until 2 twisted segments meet. 2 twisted segments met, and now I can twist them together. And the leaves will be used to finish this peak. I attached the first leaf and started twisting the stem of the leaf and the wire. And I will do the same with the second leaf. You can use 3 leaves or even more. I like to use 2, so the beads are more visible. And it's also up to you how long your peaks will be. I usually use the full length of these small leaves. I finished twisting, and you can rearrange or reposition the leaves because they're flexible. You can bend them a little, straighten them, use another angle. But my peak is done, and most of the peaks are done this way, so it's very easy and fast and fun. Depending on the beads, you would need only 1 bottom stopper. For example, on the top, the pearls have these holes on the bottom. So you can really go through these 2 holes and then go back through the bigger bead. So you're not wrapping, you're just going through 2 holes right here. But we still need the bottom stopper. Stoppers can be very small, like seed beads. And for this peak, I am using seed beads for the upper and bottom stopper. And just look how gorgeous those beads in green are, especially that one that is shaped. And don't worry if you don't have similar beads or the bottom or the upper stoppers are different. It does not matter. Be creative, use what you have at hand, and have fun. Also, take advantage of some beautiful picks that they sell at the bridal section at Michael's and other craft stores. For example, the right one I bought at Michael's. And the left one flower I did. The process of creating this flower is a little bit more complicated. And also notice that I used one but gorgeous velvet leaf for this pick. When all your picks are done, you use the foam to insert your picks. If you use enough picks, you don't even have to cover the foam. It will be completely hidden by leaves and your bead flowers. I hope that you like this idea of using broken jewelry and loose beads for the project like this. Write in the comments what other craft projects with beads and broken jewelry you would like to see.